right, welcome everybody. This is the fourth installment of VendrCast. I'm Devin with All Digital Photo and Video. I'm your host, and today I'm joined by two gentlemen that are some of my absolute favorite people in the event industry. To my left here, we have Mr. Eric Holmes. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Eric.
In my work life, I'm the Assistant Director of Sales and Marketing at the Jacquard Hotel and Rooftop in Cherry Creek. And then in my volunteer roles, I'm the Director of Member Care with MPI. I am also the co-chair of the Vendor and Sponsorship Committee for Serving Up Hope for MIC. I sit on the GMIG committee. And I'm just kind of doing everything, involved in everything.
Sounds like it.
Wow.
Holy cow. And then to my right here, we have Mr. Scotty O'Brien, who needs no introduction, but tell us a little bit about yourself, Scotty.
I'm none of that. You're awesome.
You're all that.
So Scotty O'Brien, let me see. I just, Mary and I, my wife and I just started Partner DMC, which is a brand new DMC in town. There's about 9 or 10 of them, so we're excited to join that role. I own Interaction Denver and the team building company. So we really focus our markets are corporate entertainment and decor, and then corporate team building, and then weekends it's bar and bat mitzvahs, b'nai mitzvahs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to have both of you guys here.
Thanks for having us.
And yeah, I would have to take some time to thank our sponsors. All of this costs money, and we couldn't do it without our amazing sponsors. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Venue Hub and Vendor Hub. If you're looking for a resource, I mean, you guys can vouch for Dawn and her team.
Amazing.
Venue Hub and Vendor Hub is an amazing resource that if you're a planner or you're just in the event industry and you need something, fill out one of those inquiry forms. You will get contacted by top tier professionals literally within hours. So Venue Hub, Vendor Hub, we kind of work in that same ecosystem of trying to connect the events industry. And so we're super happy to have Dawn and Venue Hub, Vendor Hub on board. Another one of our sponsors is Lionsgate Event Center and Lionsgate Studio, where we hosted our last podcast. If you haven't been to Lionsgate, go check it out. It's an absolutely stunning venue with so much history. It's just got so many really cool, quirky little spots. It's just an amazing spot. And the team over there at Lionsgate has literally been supportive of this podcast from the jump. So Lionsgate Event Center, amazing. And then this is our first real opportunity to take this to a venue. So we're here at the Rembrandt Yard in Boulder, who is our venue sponsor for today. And we're literally, if you can see from behind me, we are legitimately a block away from Pearl Street. We're right in the heart of downtown Boulder.
It's amazing.
And as you can see, there is like so much natural light here. It's a photographer's dream. And Morgan and Leanne, the team here at Rembrandt Yard, are just phenomenal rock stars. So if you're looking for a place to host an event, this is definitely an amazing top tier place to do that. So the biggest thing with this podcast is it is a work in progress. You can go back and you can watch the first 3 episodes, but this is the first real chance that we have to showcase the full capabilities here. We've got some amazing sponsors, and we have put that money and invested it into new lighting, new video equipment, new audio equipment. So this is the first time that we're really launching this thing. It's gone from concept to something that I hope is here to stay. And my hope is that it's a place where the event community, even though we can't be together in person, you can feel like you can come, you can listen, you can commiserate with what we're talking about. And you can also contribute. So throughout the show, we're gonna have the chat open. If you have any questions for myself or Eric or Scotty, drop them in the chat, and we're gonna have a Q&A at the very end where we can actually answer all your questions. But yeah, we've got all upgraded gear, so hopefully it looks great and it sounds great. And obviously the aesthetics of this place is just phenomenal. So we're gonna run a quick video that we cut for Rembrandt Yard, and it's actually got some of the Boulderado, which is right next door as well. But this is from 2024 Boulder Wedding Showcase. Check it out. All right, so as you can see, absolutely phenomenal space. And if you get a chance to check out the Boulder Wedding Showcase, that's generally in like February, so that'll be coming up in 2026. So check it out if you are a bride or groom. Definitely come see us there. And this podcast setup is something that All Digital Photo and Video actually offers as part of our marketing services. So if it's something that you have an idea, you have a vision that you want to bring to life, definitely drop us a line and we can make it happen for you. But without further ado, I kind of want to get into this. I'm so happy to catch up with you guys. I've been kind of watching your travels and everything over the last few weeks, and it sounds like you guys have been going on some awesome trips. Scotty, it seems like you're always on vacation. Do you
Thanks.
I mean,
He is on vacation a lot, it seems like.
That means people need to send me more events so I can't travel as much. So plug.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, we just, Mary and I just got back from Yellowstone and Glacier National Park, which was awesome. Funny story. I was telling Eric this over a salad before. No drinks.
Of course.
Right. Anyway, we got up there. Have you ever been to Glacier?
I haven't been to Glacier, no.
It's phenomenal. So 6 hours past Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And when we got up there, 2 days before we arrived, the highway, there's only one road that goes through the park, was shut down. So we got, I didn't know it. I didn't know that's what happened, but we showed up, we drove through, had a great time for a couple days. And then Saturday, we headed back home to Denver on Thursday. Saturday, they closed it back down because they got another 12 inches of snow in June,
gosh.
which is funny. So we did that. We did Yellowstone before that, which I've been to Yellowstone almost 100 times. So
really?
Special place. Right there, park logo.
Oh, wow.
And right before that, we went on an Alaskan cruise to celebrate our 1 year anniversary of her putting up with me. I mean, being married.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
Awesome. Yeah.
That's a lot to put up with me, I promise. I'm sure your viewers agree.
Yeah, so we went up to Yellowstone too last 2 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And I was there right. I think I left as soon as you
did. You sent me a text. You're like,
yeah,
I was just there.
Yeah. It's my second time, but Aubrey, it was her first time and my kid's first time.
Took the kiddos, good.
Yeah, and my son was like, he just randomly out of nowhere is like, Dad, I want to see Old Faithful. And I'm like, well, it's like 6 hours away. Let's do it.
Right.
Let's make it happen. So yeah, we hauled the RV up there. 3 hours in, blew a tire, had to replace all the tires.
Did you say that there is an RV, Clark? Because you should have. I mean,
yeah,
Wyoming.
But yeah, it was a really fun trip. I love that area. I spent 4 years of my childhood-ish up in Wyoming.
Okay.
At Twin Pine Ranch, and so Wyoming specifically holds a really special place in my heart. And
yes,
it's basically Colorado with less population, right? So
and more wind.
And more wind.
A lot more wind.
But yeah, it's beautiful. And then last week I got the chance to go up and film one of my apprentices' elopements up in Carbondale.
Okay.
So yeah, like literally the last 2 weeks has just been like driving through the mountains for me. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's therapeutic.
I love it. It's very
incredible.
And Eric, you were just at WEC, right?
I was just at WEC in St. Louis.
In the Lou.
First time?
Blast. No, it was my second time. So I went last year when we were in Louisville.
Okay.
But last year I was super sick because I had an event the week before, Helms Briscoe.
That's right.
Had gotten so sick, but just kind of pushed through and took alcohol to make me push through it. And it was good. It was a good time, but it just wasn't the same. This year I felt great, had a great time. I'm on the board this year, so I was able to go and connect with our current board and a lot of our members. We had a whole group chat. It was a lot. It was actually my second week of being at a trade show, kind of all week long, and parties and events. Spent the day talking about the Jacquard, making new connections, having a great time, and then spent the nights just at parties. The first night we had their baseball stadium, basketball stadium, a sports stadium. I don't know, don't judge me. But one of their stadiums they had it was basketball. That's what it was. I had a basketball shirt on.
Sure.
Had that stadium for us. The next night they had their whole dance club reserved, and then the third night was Nelly.
Yeah, Nelly there, man.
It was pretty good. And I'm 43, so it was totally vibe. Had a great time.
That is the perfect artist for MPI. That's
it was
fantastic.
so much fun. But yeah, just kind of got back, and I'm still kind of exhausted, to be honest with you. But I'm here.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. It's like you need to
Right.
take vacations during the busy season, but then it's like, do you guys get tired, or is it just me? Like when you go on vacation, it's kind of tiring.
Yeah, vacation's really tiring, I think. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm someone who wants to pack everything into it. Like if I'm gonna go, I want to go do something. I want to be if I'm at a beach, I want to be at the beach every day. If I'm Well, actually, the last vacation I took, I was kind of forced to rest because I took my sister in January to New Orleans.
Yep.
And they had that blizzard, the first blizzard they've had in like 150 years.
Oh, wow.
It was insane. They got
Just
like,
because you were there.
yeah, it was insane. They got like 10 inches of snow. They supposedly got it in like the 1800s before they recorded snow. Last time it had snowed, they got like a trace. They have no snow shovels. They have no snow tires. They have no plows. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. We'll go to the War Museum the next day. No, it was shut down the entire time. Even 3 days later, like the highways were still closed. It was crazy.
That happened when I went out to San Francisco about 10 years ago. It was like the first snow and ice they had in a long time. You know how all their streets are at like a 45-degree angle? Well, nobody knew how to drive on ice, so they were like bouncing back and forth off cars. Right. But yeah, I always feel like, same as what you're saying, like when I'm on vacation, I don't want to just sit around and be bored. Like I want to be doing stuff constantly. Yeah. So then I come back and it's kind of like the week before vacation, you got to work your ass off. And then the week after vacation, you got to work your ass off just to catch up. So it's kind of like, is it worth it? But at the same time, you do need to take that time to rest, relax, reset. It's like that meme where it's like, dude, forgot this is the whole point. Yeah. That is the whole point. That's why we work so hard. And actually, just in all fairness, I told you guys both this before we started, but I considered postponing or canceling this month's podcast because I'm just way too busy. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, if we can't do it in June, then we probably shouldn't do it at all, because the whole point of this is to give, industry professionals a place to like feel like they can kind of like unwind a little bit and be raw and authentic. Yeah. So
give us an open, honest space.
Yeah.
Understood. It's funny though. I've owned my own business for over 35 years, and I've literally never taken a day off. I mean, sure, I'm on vacation, the trips you see and all that stuff, have a great time, but I'm up at 4 a.m. every morning. She's sleeping, so that's fine. I'll just go down and have coffee. However, she's a school teacher, so when we're in bed by 9, so I guess 4 o'clock's fine. That's not a problem. But I catch up on all my emails and get everything done, and then rock on.
I love working really before like the 9 o'clock bell. Like when everyone is blowing you up, because for me it's like editing. The only time that I can really truly be creative is like first thing in the morning. That 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Wait, are you up at 4 too?
Oh yeah.
I am
not. Start calling you. He's not.
No, unless I've been up until 4, I'm not up at 4 for anything. I do get up and I start the day early, but definitely not on vacation either. If I was up at 4 on vacation, I was up until 4.
No. Hell no.
And I still do where I always got my laptop. I'm always checking email. I don't like to let things go, but no, if it's 4 a.m. it's because I was at the club and just made it home.
Yep.
Yeah. I usually sleep until like 6.
I can't.
On the vacation.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I'm up at 7 kind of regardless.
Mary tells me, she's like, sweet, you go now. Go. Goodbye.
Well, Aubrey's always like, I don't understand why you wake up so early. It's like, you don't understand. I don't have a choice. Like, that's my body's natural biology.
Yep.
I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't have to. But, that's like, I'm honestly usually wrapped up by 2 or 3 p.m. now. Unless I have a shoot.
Can you go to bed at midnight, 1 o'clock, just for whatever you did, an event or something, and you still wake up at 4? You're like, I really want to try to sleep. But
last night. I mean, literally last night, me and Jared were at Meow Wolf.
Okay.
We were shooting a little event for DJ Johnny. Okay. And I don't think that's actually his DJ name, but literally this morning, I think I slept until 5, but up and at him. Yep. And that's just the life. I mean, for me, what I'll do is I'll get like 4 to 6 hours pretty consistently. Yeah. Yep. And then like once a week, I'll sleep for like 12 to 14 hours.
Oh, wow.
Like just really like get it in and take like couple naps,
Yeah, I'm a napper.
Oh, me too.
I'm not.
I'm a napper.
Can't do a
but
nap.
I can do 10 minutes. I was telling Eric when we were
you can fall asleep in about 10 seconds, though.
Yep. Mary looks at me. She's like, "What is wrong?" Yeah, hang on. Yeah. What? She's like, "How do you do that?" I'm like, it's just training. Happens. I used to drive so much across the country that and have very little time to do it. So I would drive from New York to California. And I'd have 2 days to get there, so there's no hotel time there. You
sleep on the exit,
keep on going. I mean,
we took his daughter out to the bar. Was that last week? The weekend before? A couple weeks ago. Yeah. And they're like 5 minutes after us getting there, they get there, and she's like, "Yeah, you took a 5-minute nap in the car." It's like, "Well, you did what? You took a 5?" In 5 minutes, he had time to fall asleep, take a nap, get back in there. But
Okay,
he
he got
powered through.
refreshed.
He powered through. He stayed with her all night. Yeah.
Not bad for
It was past 9 p.m. too. I think he made it till like 11 or 12. Yeah. It was
Not
great.
bad for an old guy.
Yeah.
It's all right.
bad
I can
at
work
all.
circles around all the industry, so let's go.
There you go.
That's how the saying goes. Is it's like somewhere out there's someone half as talented that's outworking you and being more successful. Not saying that you're not talented.
Definitely
I'm
not.
just saying that's always been my thing. Is like I really do feel like hard work runs circles around talented people.
Yep.
I'm not the most talented guy at all.
I
But
disagree. I think you're awesome.
well, I've really people look to me because they know that it's going to be solid, it's going to be reliable.
You're consistent.
Well,
Consistency,
You're
I
consistent.
think hard work breeds talent too. Like if you look at anybody who's really talented, they practiced, they worked hard for it, they got there. Like there's a certain amount that you're born with, a certain I have an innate ability to sell and to talk to people, and that's like a part of who I am. But I also work my ass off, and that's why I'm so good at it.
But it also pisses me off when somebody picks up a camera when within a year they're like just crushing it, like they're better than me. I'm like, wow. So yeah, I mean, it's hard for me. I'm surrounded. My entire team is incredibly talented in their own special, unique ways.
These guys are a lot better.
They're amazing. I'm all stressed out though that my microphone is either too close or too far away.
It's all good.
Is it
How does
good-
it sound?
Is
Does
it a good
somebody give us
distance? Are we doing good?
Sibilance.
hit us up in the chat. If it's
Sibilant.
sounding good.
Yeah,
Let me know.
Your posture, boys, look phenomenal.
Oh,
just to
mine.
let you
I know mine doesn't. Let me fix it.
Yeah.
I'm actually in a minute. I'm gonna go like this because it seems way
You
more
should.
comfy
You
to
got
just
your
do it
shoes
like
off.
this. Yeah.
Do you,
Right.
man? Do
Sounds
you?
better to me.
I could do the dad thing and sell tickets to the gun show.
Oh, there you
Dang,
go.
dude. You do got some guns.
It's carrying us.
Proud of you. Proud of you, dog. But yeah,
Yay.
so this entire concept, as far as like the podcast goes, this is a space, and we didn't get our entire intro in, but it's a place to be raw and real and share some of your stories, your challenges, and your wins. So I guess my first question to you guys is like, what are some things that you guys have had, challenges with over the past month or two, or just this season, or kind of what have you guys been dealing with? And you got to speak with some form of anonymity because we don't want to call anyone out here, but like
Oh, I'll call him right out. But it's mine. It's nothing. Mine is not about anybody I know personally or can handle. It's just, I would say in the last few months, the economic climate in the country has really been,
100%.
We've seen things shift. Especially May and June were hard months just because in February and March, suddenly anything that was like larger, anything that was pharmaceutical, or we don't do government at the Jacquard, but anything that has any kind of government backing, things started to cancel, slip out, postpone till next year. So that has been something to overcome and push past, and we've just kind of shifted perspective, shifted our angles. We pushed more for like social stuff. We pushed more for just like really digging hard, offering more concessions, kind of doing what we can do. Honestly, May and June just kind of came out under us in February and March, and we were able to kind of pull that back together, and we're seeing a really strong flowing out of that into July, August, September as things are starting to block again. But that's been the only real challenge that I've seen is just when there was such uncertainty in our economy and in the markets and in funding, and suddenly groups just didn't want to book, anyone with bigger groups.
Right.
Yeah, I try not to, we have a sales team. Really, I do corporate sales. Brittany does wedding sales, but I try not to read too far into like the numbers because there's ebbs and flows with the industry, with the economy, with people's spending habits, and just like how those are affected. And so I try not to like get too pumped up when we have a good month in sales, and try not to get too low. But I hear you. I mean, we were kind of the same way in like in April and May where we were still selling stuff, but it just felt like everything was super. You had to really pull them across the finish line. You had to really make a bunch of concessions just to make it work.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, so I've been in this thing for 35 years. I've a little more even. I've seen it. I've seen recessions. I've seen just a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of government interference. I won't get political because this isn't the climate to do so. But, I've seen a lot of ups and downs. And then COVID, holy cow, surprise. I was standing in Charlotte, North Carolina, had a speaker on my shoulder. We signed a contract with a client and it was $1 million contract, which is for sole ops a big deal. And we traveled with this client for 6 months and got a call and said, yeah, we're canceling that. Head home. And, you know, I got a small cancellation fee, which was certainly didn't cover anything. So, you know, I became a government employee for 1.5 years. I mean, it's just the way it was. There's nothing I could do. I tried to be as relevant as possible. I did the DJs, which, you know, I mean, I guess that's my route. You know, we would DJ from basements and live stream it, and just to keep any kind of name recognition out there. But so many people in our industry, I don't know how it went in Denver. I was in St. Louis at the time, lost their jobs. Person in your position would be cleaning rooms and serving in the restaurants, and the two people that are there.
A job,
you got to do what you got to do if you want to be
DJ if nobody's having a party.
Right,
If
exactly.
allowed to have a party.
So yeah, it was interesting. So I've seen a lot of stuff. Now, this is simply all political driven. People were afraid, but it's the same formula, you know, because I work in two spaces, corporate and B'nai Mitzvahs. I'm not a wedding guy. It's not my thing that I really focus on. Sure, I'll do them. If they want luxury, you got it. And that's on the entertainment side. The DMC, of course, you know, is full service. So we do everything. You know, a person like Eric would send biz our way, and we would manage the group for him and do it very successfully because our focus is little plug, you know, one group at a time. So they get all of our resources. So we're excited about that. Anyway, plug back to the, you know, the way the current economic environment, it doesn't really affect the social events.
Right.
Maybe the spend on it, sure, understood. But, you know, these folks have saved up, you know, at least in the bar bat mitzvah world, they've saved up for their child. And this is the big party. And, you know, bring the family in and all that kind of stuff. Same thing on a wedding. But corporate gets affected. And it's not the planners that we can ever blame. You know this.
Well, yeah.
We can't say, Susie Planner, why don't you do this? You know, it's CFO watching those numbers because they still have to keep the company afloat regardless. So everything trickles downhill, you know, and if you look at the way our industry is set up, you know, as a hotelier, you're number one. You got to have a place to have your meeting if you're going to travel for it.
Yeah.
You know, and then everything else falls in line. But stuff like decor and entertainment and photo booths and all that, videography. We talked about this before. You know, you're struck off the list very quickly because you're we don't really need.
We're usually never on the list.
You're on our list,
You're on our list.
Well, I mean, like for events, I swear to you, for video, you either get booked like 1.5 years in advance or like the week before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last minute.
You know, they decide, oh, got to have that.
Yeah, it's like the aunt wants to like buy them, you know, a gift for their wedding and didn't get them anything, and now she can't think of anything, and so she's like, oh, I'll buy a videographer.
Right. There you go.
But that's kind of the way that all digital is structured, and that's the way we're built. And I always say, like, I'd rather be getting the call last second than not at all.
Understood.
And so that's what we're built for. And Eric, it's been great. You said that you were doing concessions. One of the things that the Jacquard does is they throw in a free headshot station.
We do. We just put out the promo. It's in that bag I just gave to.
Yep.
Thank you.
And so, yeah, we're the ones that come in and provide that service.
Yeah.
And so we love that. Like, that's the kind of partnerships that we thrive on.
Yes.
And then it's so funny because literally we're over here setting up, and I'm like, oh, I got to jet to a walkthrough real quick over at Church Ranch Event Center. Shout out Church Ranch. And guess who's there? Run into Scotty over there.
Working on some team building and decor for a client in July.
Yeah. So it's a really small world. The events, that's what I really love about the Colorado event industry is it's so small, it's so interconnected, and there's this just huge network of people. And I've said this on past episodes, it's like you don't really want to like be on anybody's bad side, you know, because we're all just, it's like one big family, you know?
You know, if I can interject, I've said this since I moved here. Look, I've traveled this nation many times over, done events in every city. Something that's different about this town, MIC does not exist anywhere else. I don't mean the concept itself, but there's nowhere to bring 18 organizations together as a city. And
is it 18 now?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Am I right? You're on the
I
thumb
think
board.
it's 11 or 12 or 13. I'm not on the board.
I'd
so I
heard.
don't know.
Okay. Well.
One was just
All right,
added.
well,
I think it just went from 11 to 12.
All right. Well, now it's 18. So.
But don't test me because I don't know.
Right. But what's awesome is that this is the only community I've ever been part of where the camaraderie is so incredible. I met Matt Kays at one of the first events that I ever went to, and I went up and shook his hand and I said, "Hey man, I can't," just as the DJ said, I said, "I can't wait to compete with you." He said, "We don't compete here. We collaborate, we partner, we work together." Nope, he did. Right. And
we were just competing for business an hour ago. What are you talking about?
True. One of my favorite sayings is, community
over competition.
And it's magical here. I don't think that people, because if they don't live out of here and they're not from here and they've never worked in another city, understand how magical this industry is.
I don't know. I would almost say, because I'm someone who's I'm less than 3 years in truly to our industry, and I see it. I see how magical it is and how special it is here. And like, I was just telling Scotty before we got on here about how when I first came in, I actually just did last month at Elevate, if anybody was there. Shout out to Dawn Williams. She was on the last podcast.
We talked a lot about
conference was amazing.
Yeah.
Good God.
And I had the opportunity to speak at her podcast or at her event on networking and building your brand. And when I was putting together that talk, I got to really think about like how I got there and why would anybody want me to talk about this. And I thought that it really comes down to the connections and the people that I've met in this industry. And when I first came on, I'm so grateful and I'm so lucky. And I know you said something about you wouldn't want to burn bridges or you wouldn't want to make enemies here or something like that. But I think it's kind of the opposite of that, if that makes sense. But on the same line, because it's almost like you have the opportunity to really build connection and build real, genuine friendships here.
Yeah.
It's not about like there's people that you're meeting that you might want to burn their bridge. Like you're meeting people that you actually want to be their friend and connect with. And
well, I say that like there's an accountability factor.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
like it's almost like it keeps us all
They
accountable
matter.
because I can't screw you over, or else everyone's going to find out about
yeah,
it.
exactly. So the
And
real people
I like
show
that
up.
about it. It's a natural built-in accountability.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants what's best for everyone else. Perfect example. Next episode, we're having Casey from 2-1 Photography on, and I love promoting her because she's just such a phenomenal person.
Sure.
Now, does she compete with me at multiple venues? Of course.
Right.
But I want to see her win, and she wants to see me win, and that's all that really matters.
Community
at the end
over
of the day.
competition.
That's right. And it's only in a place like this that a podcast like this could thrive.
Understood.
Because I feel like there's a lot of event pros that want to tap in. They want to know more about, different event pros, get to see their real kind of authentic, unadulterated side. So hopefully they get a little bit of a peek at that today.
Yeah.
It's funny, when I moved here, Murray, I love you. Murray Englander.
He's great.
Love him. Told me, he said, you got to be quiet. You got to quiet down. Bring it down like 22 notches. Because, I'm loud.
22?
Okay.
22 dB?
Right. But, and I told him, I said, yep, I'm not everybody's fit, not by any means. But I just moved here and I'm my own billboard. If I want to sell my services the way I do my services, then I have to promote what I do. So, it's been a challenge. No, I'm not a fit for everybody.
Well, one thing people can't say about you is that you're not, memorable.
Authentic.
Oh.
Or authentic. You're who you are.
Oh.
Now, see, I had the opposite experience coming in. I was very in the talk I did, I talked about how I met almost as soon as I came into the industry. I met 3 women. I met Dawn Williams, Big Workler, and I met Jeanette Stenskar.
Love all those.
And those 3 women changed the trajectory of my life. And the one thing that they all have in common was not just that they took me to events and let me get involved. Each one of them encouraged me to just always be me, to always continue showing up as me and as authentically me, and not be afraid of my past or my story or like who I am in this space. They gave me the permission to really be me. And I think that's been such a powerful thing about our industry. Every time I've been vulnerable, every time that I've been like, okay, let me just let this guard down. Let me let somebody in. I have felt more like welcomed and loved and invited. And I had opportunities like that. I have the opportunity to be sitting here now on this podcast. Like, it's just been, I've been very, very blessed, and I'm very, very grateful for that, to have just come to an industry that has been so welcoming of authenticity.
I agree. I mean, Don Williams was the second person I met.
Yeah.
Freddie Templeton told me, he said, call Dawn. And I did, and we met, and she's just, there's an angel on earth with that girl.
For
She's
sure, yeah.
incredible. And it's funny, Jeff Libby, you know, I mean, that's, I guess, my bestie in town.
Love him too.
We talk about it all the time, and what I came from in St. Louis, you know, the environment that I walked out on my personal life, you know, it was a hard deal. So we'll just leave it at that. But when I came here, I wanted to become better than who I was. I wanted to become better first for me, second for my girls, third for, I don't know, a future mate. You know, I was always looking to date, and I found Mary. Holy cow. But, you know, in the back of my mind, I always thought, well, I'm making mistakes. People must hate me. They must not like me. But he pointed out something beautiful about, and I guess it just comes later in life, is that when you mess up, because you're going to make mistakes, but as long as you're always forward thinking and you're always moving forward, then, you know, people should accept you for your growth, you know, and if they don't, then that's on them. It's not really your fault.
Yeah.
You do the best you can for you, Eric Holmes.
Yeah.
And, you know, you take that, you live and you run with it. And if people try to hold you back or talk behind your back, then that's kind of on them. That's their loss.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fix your past. You can't change any mistakes that you've made in the past. All you can change is how you move forward. So if you mess up and you learn from it and you move forward. But in that same essence, though, I guess if there's someone who you have made a mistake with them, then that's up to them too, whether they want to accept an apology or move forward or move on. I think for me, it's just all about being a better person, learning more.
Yeah.
I think about myself when I was like 18, 20, or even myself a year ago, and the person that I am now, and how much I've learned and how much more comfortable I am in my own skin. I think it's really cool that as humans we're allowed to have that. If you can give yourself the grace to know that you don't have to be the same person you were yesterday. You don't have to be the same person that you were a year ago. Like if you've learned that maybe that wasn't the right approach, that you can grow from that.
Right.
That's what I want in people, and that's what I want in the people who are in my lives, is people who want to grow and want to be better, and people who want to lead with their heart, people that want to be kind and want to help other people.
Right.
That's the kind of core values that matter to me.
And it radiates from you, just to let you know.
You.
You're
Ditto, for sure.
You're magical, man. I'm telling you what.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, are we
The
back?
moment. Yeah.
Are there tears?
What is your official title with MPI?
With MPI, I am currently the Director of Member Care.
Director of Member. Is that a new board
No.
position?
Member Care is a standard one. So basically, my role is member engagement, member satisfaction. I'm the first person who reaches out to a member when they come on board. So I'll reach out, kind of let them know a little bit about MPI. I'll offer to do their new member spotlight, all that kind of thing. And then really my core role, or Member Care's core role, I hate to say my because it shifts, it's going to shift every year. This is my first year on the board. Next year I'll be in another space. Someone else will be in that space. So it's not mine. It's a part of the core of what MPI is. But member care is really all about finding ways to ensure that you're providing the best services, the best engagement, the best everything for your members. So like what we're doing, right, we reach out for renewals and we reach out for things like that. We try to make sure that we're there to answer questions, to help members in any way. But my goal this year, the biggest thing I'm trying to do is figure out what we can do to get members more engaged.
Right.
And so when I came into it, I came into member care and I thought surely the problem was money. I thought if you weren't coming to an event, it's because you couldn't afford it. And that was just, I'd already fixed that problem in my head. I hadn't asked the question, but I fixed the problem. Sure. So I went in thinking, oh, how can we give new members, free tickets or whatever? And then I looked at how many new members there were, and I was like, shit, that's a lot of new members. Can I say so? No, sorry if I'm not supposed to say that. Okay, good.
Say whatever.
So, but I was like, that's a lot of new members. How do we figure this out? And then Risa, she's might not watch him, but if she is, Richa, who's fantastic. She's our director of leadership development.
I thought it was Risa.
I called her Risa. If it's Risa,
Is it
pretty sure it's Risa.
Okay.
I just call her ma'am.
It's Maher as well. I'm pretty sure I
I
said
thought it
that
was
right. I better
neither.
get credit for it. I better get credit for
Probably
saying it
way
right.
off. Anyway,
I've
sorry.
never seen a better looking guy besides Rob, seriously.
Oh, her husband.
God,
He's
serious.
he's gorgeous. We love you, Rob.
Yeah, we do.
Such a beautiful man.
But yeah, I was on a video call with Risa, and she was like, well, do you know that's a problem? And I was like, well, why wouldn't it be? She said, did you ask the question? it was like a light bulb for me. Oh, wow. Like maybe it's not. And I've actually come to find out that we've had this whole process where I have a whole committee of people. We have a whole committee of people who are doing outreach to all of our members to kind of find out what can we do to get you more involved? What are your needs? I haven't heard from a single person it was about money. So it was like a huge learning experience for me that like, wow, maybe ask the question before you try to fix the problem.
Sure.
Because we all see the world through our own lens, through our own paradigm.
Understood.
And it was like such a learning opportunity for me to be like, wow, maybe don't try to fix the problem until you know what it is. So that's my biggest goal, at least at this point, for member care and what we can do, is to really find out what those things are that our members need, how we can get them more engaged, how we can better serve them, and then actually put in plans, implement things to make that happen. So that's kind of where I see member care for this year.
That's cool. And just for any viewers that don't know what MPI is, it's Meeting Planners International, Rocky Mountain chapter. I think we're all, you're a member, right?
I am.
You both
Okay.
are, yeah.
Yeah. I've been an MPI for 30 years. Rocky Mountain chapter is the first one, though.
Yeah.
We were the first chapter. Yeah.
We're number one.
I've been a member for 8 years, but I've never paid membership dues because we sponsor
Everything. Literally everything.
literally everything for the last 10 years. But shout out to Jared Bunn. He's going to be the director of marketing and communications coming up in this next cycle.
That's very exciting.
And
it has not been announced yet, so that's top secret
well,
information. but we're good. We're good.
Whoops.
Spoiler
But yeah,
alert for anybody who's on here.
but Jared is going to be
Freddie, ignore that.
It's fine. It's
Okay,
It'll be announced very, very soon.
Okay.
Well,
Right
it was
now?
just announced, so yeah.
It's public.
See, this is why you watch, so you can get
Yeah.
inside scoop,
cutting edge.
breaking news here.
Yeah.
But Jared is actually going to be hosting this podcast in August,
Exciting.
and we're gonna start kind of going back and forth because it is a lot. I mean, I know we do it once a month, but it's a lot. It's a lot to get guests, get a venue, get talking points.
I can't even imagine everything that comes into it this far. If you guys could see this room and what these guys have done and what his team have done in this space, like just today was a lot. I can't imagine everything, like getting it ready and everything that you put into it to come to fruition. It's amazing.
Well, again, this is our fourth episode. The first three were kind of trial. I brought on people that I knew would be okay with that,
Libby was
kind of
up
like
for
the test run.
Awesome.
And I feel like we finally got it dialed. So hopefully you guys see that. Hopefully it looks and sounds great. Just from our testing, I think it did great. I mean, yeah.
You look phenomenal.
But
The lighting.
it's also a learning curve for me. I've never hosted a podcast. I've never even been on camera. So it's like
I've been on one. I hear you.
yeah. So it's a lot. It's it's a lot of learning, and I have went back and rewatched the first 3 episodes and learned from my own mistakes and hopefully getting a little bit better at it. But one of the big reasons why I wanted to start this is just because I'm a bad listener.
Same.
I'm a really bad listener.
Same. It's something you learn as you
I'm
get older.
serious.
Yeah. It takes practice and it takes extreme effort to actually listen. It doesn't take effort to hear. It takes real effort to listen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty good at talking, but I'm not great at listening. So, but I feel like it's actually affecting me in my personal life, where I've developed a knack for inquiry. Just like, hey, what's going on in your life? How did this make you feel? Things like that. Where I felt like in the past, I don't know. Either I didn't care, or I was just felt like I was too busy with stuff, and I don't want to be that person. So that's part of the reason. And also, we were talking about this before, and we've talked about this a number of times on the previous episodes, that as event professionals, we're constantly in this go chaos state. And if you guys weren't on the podcast, we probably wouldn't sit down for 2 hours and talk about anything for any length of time unless we were intentional about it. So like me and Scotty, we went and got tacos the other day, but most of that, it was like 45 minutes. And I think we slammed 3 beers in that time. It was fantastic. Good time.
Yeah.
We went and had lunch, but we just made out the whole time before we came in. That's it.
Hey, Mary, don't pay attention.
But yeah, it's like how much of a conversation can you really have in 30, 40 minutes?
Right.
And I enjoyed that a lot. But at the same time, it's like to really what we're doing is we're intentionally creating this space to allow these things to happen.
Sure.
And hopefully, like I said, any viewers feel like they're tapping into that. So
Understood.
Yeah.
You said something, your previous comment to that, about listening. That's in my opinion, one of my weakest points when Jeff Libby, I talk a lot about him, right?
He's
I got this
amazing.
thing for Jeff. I don't know. Anyway, we do have a bromance. First it was Scott Hittleman and Tony, and now him and I, so anyway, he told me as I was starting, putting final touches on a DMC, because I ran everything by you, Don Williams, Sarah Roshan, a couple other wonderful people, and really talked in detail. And he said that your downfall, if you don't work on this, will be is if you don't listen to your clients. Because I've done this so long that I know what's going to go right. I know what's going to go wrong. I can foresee weaknesses and strengths in vendors that we work with, and it's just, I know the formula, but it's time for me, thank you, Jeff, to shut up and take in what the client wants, so I can make their visions come true using that knowledge, instead of shoving it down their throats and saying, well, this is what you need. Because that's the way I've always been. You can sell, I can sell too. Yeah. But I've really worked hard at dialing back the me, not on a microphone, because that's why I get paid, but dialing back the me in my office world, if you will, in my personal life too. Yeah. I'm it all rolls over to each other, doesn't it?
Same. I'm in the same position where, for the first 8 years of owning All Digital, dude, I did everything and anything.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
And just working my ass off. And over the last 2 years, I've really made an intentional effort, talking with Aubrey, and I'm like, if this is the way that it's going to be forever, then I don't really want to do it.
Sure.
And so I've had to make space for other people to shine where I used to shine. And it's weird because I start getting jealous of my own team, and Jared can tell you about this.
That's awesome.
Because it sucks when somebody else goes out and they crush a shoot,
right?
And then the client's like, "Oh my God, these photos are the best we've seen in 5 years," and you're like,
"What about mine?
Well, I shot it last year. What the hell?"
Right.
So, but being okay with members of my team shining and getting credit for things. That's been a weird adjustment for me, because I've always kind of been the guy, and it's not like I need a lot of credit or accolades. I've honestly never been one to really want the spotlight.
Sure.
But that is weird when you take a step back and you allow for other, that vacuum that's created.
Right.
Well, somebody talented needs to step in there, and it's like, at the end of the day, would you rather they're like, "Well, these photos suck, I wish it was you"? No, because then it's got to be me every time. So you have to allow that space for other people to go shine, or else I'm going to be stuck going and shooting it every time. Right. And I don't want to do that, because then I'm a bad father, and et cetera. Yeah. And, I really love what you said earlier. I wanted to go back to just being authentic. One thing that, even like Jared and Matt sitting here, and everyone on my team can tell you, is that's one thing I really pride myself on, is being authentic. Yeah. I truly, like anybody, I can put on a mask. I can be kind of fake-ish if I need to be.
Sure.
But I can tell the reason I like to be critical of people on my team is because they know that once I turn around and praise them, that it's coming from a real place.
Authenticity.
You see what I'm saying? Because
right.
Because they know that if it wasn't the truth, that they would know it. And so giving them that negative feedback, well, it's constructive criticism.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
But giving them that constructive criticism so they can grow, they know that it's coming from a place of me caring. And then also, like I said, when I turn around and praise them, they value it that much more, because they know I'm not just blowing smoke up their ass.
Right.
So I think there's a lot of value in authenticity. And honestly, that's one of the main things that I look for in people. You said, you're looking for people with certain values. The biggest one for me, really, it's loyalty and authenticity. Sure. Those are my two core things. One of the things, Scotty, and I'll tell you right out, I've told you this when we went and sat down. When I first met you, I didn't like you at all.
I understand.
I thought I'm like, God, well, it's just DJs in general. I'm like, they're so loud. They're so obnoxious. But as I got to know you more, you know, I gained a lot of respect for you as a father, you know, just seeing how much you care for your kids.
That's been a journey.
As a business person, as an entrepreneur, and just the way that you just grind and get after it, man. And again, this is why I say, you know, I'm being real with you, because I wouldn't tell you that if I wasn't. But it took me a long time to warm up to you, you know, like, and I'm glad that I did.
I came up and hugged you the minute I met you.
You probably did, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I think I did at MIC.
I very well may have too.
At MIC of it had been March 21. That was 1 month into the movie. Yeah, I remember hugging you. I probably have a photo of it. Yeah, that's just me, you know. I'm a lot.
What did you? I gotta ask. What did you think of me when you first met me?
Wow, he's tall. I mean, it did, and he's got a video camera, so he doesn't need a tall tripod because he can just do this.
It does come in handy. Yeah, it does.
Right?
It's nice.
No, I just I met you. You know, I scoped out before I moved here. I actually, people don't know this. I was going to move here, not move. I started Interaction Denver 10 years ago prior to me even thinking of coming here. I have some wonderful family that live in Castle Rock. So I would come in and stay during the week and then go back to St. Louis during the weekend, do events, see my girls and all that. I had the pleasure to meet with, like, you know, Chris Starkey and all these big names that I looked up to from afar. And then I found out, took about a month and a half when I realized, yeah, if I don't have a residence here, I'm not going anywhere. This is too strong of a community. I can't come in and push business without being part of that community. So big lesson learned. I fell in love with that. Yeah. Because like I said, I've always traveled so much, but to see, you know, it's just such a beautiful place. It really is. Anyway, no, I thought you were awesome. And your reputation walked in before you. Well, there's something to say, you know, you said earlier that you sponsor a lot of stuff, and that's why you're MPI and all that. You don't just sponsor you don't sponsor for the glory. That's clear, because this is a thankless job when you're sponsoring stuff. It really is.
Sometimes, yeah.
You know, people don't just run up and, oh, I saw you, let me give you some business. That's not the way
it doesn't, yeah, stuff. Unfortunately.
Yeah, even though we all try to push it and all that. But people see your character, which is much more important. You know, and the definition of character is, what do people say about you when you leave the room?
Right.
What do they say when you're not there?
And and your character is spot on, man. Your team you work with.
Thank you.
I couldn't be any more impressed. Eric's team, I just had the pleasure to have lunch with them. We did their holiday party in January, casino night and all this stuff. And you surround yourself with the people that you appreciate, that you want to be like, and that are like you. You had said something a few minutes ago, and I thought of a saying, you know, when you're a sole proprietor, like we are, you know, the weakest, how does it go? The weakest part of your company is the worst person on your team.
Right.
And that's the person that they all see. Yep. They don't look and like, oh, man, he's awesome. They're going to see that guy over doing whatever he's doing or she's doing that should not be being done, whatever, and they judge you on it.
Absolutely.
Maybe, I don't know, this town, sure, but I mean, it's an industry thing. So, you know, again, if we're all forward thinking and we focus on positivity and moving forward and becoming better, and we accept each other for not only our strengths, but our weaknesses, we all become better as a community.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said positivity, because you might have a weak member of your team, but how are you dealing with that? True. Are you lifting that person up and trying to make them better, or are they your scapegoat? Are they the reason why nothing goes wrong? Or are they the reason why you're working to try and make them better, to make them a better fit? Right. Or why aren't they gone? So like for me, that's kind of like, it's about, I firmly believe in positivity. I'm someone kind of that, maybe the opposite of you, where I shower people with compliments. It's a part of who I am. It's probably, if you've met me, the first thing I said to you. But what you said about authenticity is to my core. Yeah. So I will almost always, if I want to come and say something to you, I will find something about you. I will see something in you that I like, but it will always be true. If I come up and tell you that I like your shoes, I do. If I come up and tell you that there's something I see about you and whatever it is, it's because it's true, and you lead with that authenticity. And that's just it's my way. It's the way I come about it. And I think you just proved kind of how authenticity works, because you talked about how that was one of your core values and how you didn't like him when you first met him. Has he changed?
Go figure.
Has he changed, or have you seen that was just who he actually was the whole time?
I actually think that you have changed over the past.
I think things have changed about him, but how boisterous, how out in your face, how outgoing, how loud
his
he is.
personality hasn't changed.
No.
But I do think that since you've met Mary, you have softened up. And I
for
see this
sure.
in a lot
For
of
sure.
guys.
He has. She has
That a
certainly brought
woman
the
can
best.
change you, and,
For sure.
and for the better, you know. And I'm not saying that
She doesn't try. That's the funny thing.
Yeah.
She just, she's just easy to be around, man. I mean, look, she's a pre-K teacher, so she goes and works 8 hours with people that are on my level, because they're all loud, obnoxious pains in the ass, and she comes
I
home
thought you were
to
saying
them.
intellectually. I was like,
Well, pretty close. But, bro, I'm a DJ. Come on now,
dude.
right?
Come on.
She's very
love
much
some
the yin
credit.
to your yang. She
Yeah.
totally is like balances you. But you guys
know
have the
what?
same heart.
Yeah.
And-
Freddie Templeton said that.
Yeah, you guys have the same heart, and honestly, it really comes back to authenticity. Like it's when I was doing the talk, it's the thing I kept saying is just be you, just be who you are,
Yeah.
and you just kept being who you are and kept leading with that. And I think when people see someone, because I can be very much like that too, very in your face, very whatever, and people who don't trust that or don't know that that's genuine or don't know that your compliments are real or that's your real heart. Will judge that. But if you show up as you, as the person you are, whether people like it or don't like it every time,
Right.
people who appreciate authenticity and who value realness will eventually see who you really are.
Well,
That's
you know,
kinda how
I came here.
feel about it.
I agree. Being a Midwest boy, as you are.
And I am.
Where
We're
you
all
from?
Midwest, Eastern Nebraska.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
We're all from the same area, which is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tornado.
Tornado.
And
Well,
Taylor
the new
Parks.
Tornado Alley is shifting east. Did you know that?
Yeah,
So,
it's-
so Nebraska's not, and Iowa's not Tornado Alley.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
we're dead in the center of it.
Yeah.
But I hug everything. I mean, that's just
Trees?
what us
You hug trees?
Midwesterners do. Huh?
You hug everything.
Everything, whatever. It doesn't
Trees,
matter.
buildings.
No, and it's nothing. It's funny because I've always been a hugger. It's just I grew up in a crappy home, so instead of that, I decided just to shine, love, and give. That's just my, I dated, of course, and talked about my love languages, and my love language was to give, but not to receive. You don't have to give me gifts, but I want to give to you just because that's who I am.
like
So
that too.
I do the same thing with hugs and all that. And yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, it's that's a lot. So a friend of mine who really honed me in on the industry in St. Louis, he taught me something, right before COVID, because I go up, just hug everybody. And he said, put your hand out and put one hand out like here. And I do it sometimes, not always, but this is in case somebody wants to shake hands. If they want to bring you in for a hug, you bring in your other arm. So
Covering all the bases. I
covering
like
all the bases. But, yeah, I mean, I'm certainly a personal space invader and very loud. Yeah, I get it. But I am who I am.
Yeah.
And I am my own billboard, and that's for my clients and the friends that I want to hang out and be with.
And you are truly a big teddy bear sweetie pie too. So I think that's kind of the key, is that when people get to know you, it's authentic, it's real, it's just really who you are. You want to just hug people and love people, and you lead with your heart. I've never seen you do anything but that. So
Thank you.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
you,
agreed.
Yeah, we could go on. This is
Yeah.
great. Not just about me, but yeah, y'all are magic, man.
So what's one event or moment in you guys' career where you're like, yes, this is why I do what I do? What?
Serving up hope. So easy.
Yes.
It wasn't at Serving Up Hope. It was not any of those moments. Like not when we were on the
give the
stage.
viewers, anybody who doesn't know it,
Okay,
what
so,
is Serving
so
Up?
Serving Up Hope is part of MIC, which we've been alluding to. I don't know if we explained what MIC is either. So MIC is the Meetings Industry Council of Colorado.
Sure.
It is made up of 11, 12, 13, however many they are, different associations that all come
Quick
together.
sidebar on that. So I'm a member of the board of CEA,
Yes.
and over the past month we've been making a push to try to get onto the MIC. Yeah, I
Like
think you have to
that.
have a national branch, but I think
For something.
I don't
yeah.
know. We'll see
I know.
what
I'm
happens.
not on the board there. I just am on all the committees for the most part. But Meetings Industry Council of Colorado is all the different associations come together and they form MIC. And MIC does several things, but 3 major things that they do throughout the year. They put on the MIC trade show, which is in March every year, huge trade show where the proceeds are kind of shared among the association. So it's a great fundraiser for all the different chapters. They do the Global Meetings Industry Day, which is put on once a year, and they do Serving Up Hope. So Serving Up Hope is a fundraiser for Food Bank of the Rockies. Last year we raised $45,000 for Food Bank of the Rockies. Everything is donated. The space is donated. Everybody that's there is working on donated time. The food is donated. Everything is brought in just with this common goal. And so my my run moment that really means the most to me is a card that's on my desk, and it sits right in front of me. And it's a card from this little kid, and it says, we get our boxes every month, and my little brother really loves getting these boxes, and it's really helped. I can't think of exactly what it says right now. I'm looking at it every day because I'm on the spot, but it's something along the lines of, we get a box every month, and my little brother really loves it when he gets like the candy, and we really appreciate this. And so when I got that, when I saw that it impacted a real person, like it was cool standing on stage and knowing that we raised all this money and just the thought of it going to people. But that card that a kid had written that got a box of food from Food Bank was the moment that really made me realize, wow, it was so worth it.
That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
What about you, Scotty?
Well, now I'm over here thinking of events. I'm trying to think, what have I done awesome for people?
You did the Jacquard holiday party and crushed it. So I'll give you that if you need an event. Crushed it.
Thank
yeah.
you. I'm in between 2. One we're planning right now. It's a bat mitzvah, actually up here in Boulder. Super excited for this family. They are just so full of heart. And their daughter, they came to me, because on B'nai mitzvahs, bar bat mitzvahs, whatever, we do entertainment. And then about a year ago, I started Mazel Tov, which is B'nai Mitzvah planning, because we don't have any dedicated B'nai Mitzvah planners in this area. They do weddings and everything else. Well, this is just my total focus for Simchas, if you will. And anyway, this family came to me, and they're just the most lovely people. And on a conversation, I was at Bear Aesthetic and got the call, and they're like, yeah, we want to do an Enchanted Forest theme. And I'm like, oh, we're on. Let's do this. It's going to be magical. So I can't wait to do this thing the first weekend in December and release the footage for it. It's going to be incredible. But I guess something that's happened, I don't have any kids write me any cards because you're awesome.
They wrote them to everybody who had everything to do with Serving Up Hope. It wasn't just to me, but it was.
Yeah. And I love Serving Up Hope. I was on a committee.
Very cool thing to get. Yeah.
2 years ago, for 2 years, we did all the video work for them. And all that. It was just it's an organization.
You did a bunch this last year too.
Yeah,
you sponsored last.
Oh, that's right.
Both of you did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was the number 2 donor. Whatever. I got to stay coming at your place. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. For the
years.
Raffle or for the auction. Yeah.
Yeah. Staycation.
Yeah.
And but in April we did our first event with Partner DMC, and that's kind of wow, I'm in the DMC world. I did this in St. Louis before COVID for 3 or so years, and then COVID shut it down. I didn't really put a lot of time and effort into it, but I know the formula because, our focus will be, one program at a time and vendor driven, and creating exceptional luxury experiences, just real personalized stuff. I really love to be creative, and I hate cookie cutter. I just don't do cookie cutter. And, a client gave me the opportunity, and I released the video. She couldn't have raved anymore. So I think what I love, events are awesome. Week-long events, spending 3 or 4 days with the client, because you actually get to know the client during those. If you're doing a wedding or a bar bat mitzvah, or any other social event, 4 hours, you're out. See ya. You spend a week with a client, you're getting some social time, some special time in there, and you get to know that client, and to hear them say things like, "Wow, will you travel with us?" That's a big deal. That my team, I guess I was there too, but the team and I made that kind of impression on a client, and it's a privilege to change the game for that client versus what they've done before.
Yeah.
I think that means the most to me. It's not about the money anymore. Yeah, I like making money because that pays for travel.
I love money. Money's great.
Same. All right. I'm all for it.
All right, well, you got
Yeah.
You know, I would have never been able to say this when I was younger, but it's no longer about the money I make. It's more about the reputation. Because with the reputation will come the money.
And is it the right
It's
fit?
invaluable.
Too? Like it's as much as I love money, and I'm not saying I don't do well, but I've been offered more money to go to other spaces
Sure.
and turned it down because it's just not the right next fit. It's not
Not
the right
right fit.
space. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the right vibe. It's not going to get you to the next place you want to be.
Right.
If money is your only driving factor, I think then you'll always be driving for it. You'll always be searching for it. You'll always kind of be fighting for that.
Yeah, you'll do whatever it takes
you-
to get it from someone else.
Yeah.
It's not a right
Not
mindset.
that, but yeah, it's just I don't know. For me, I would rather know that where I'm at is going to be the step that I want to be on, and that I'm fulfilled and happy in it.
Yeah.
Like I could easily go and director of sales somewhere right now. That's not what I want for my next step. I have no desire to be a director of sales yet in my career. I love networking and connecting, and I love being out building a brand and connecting with people and like being the face of a property.
You were blitzing today.
I love that. So as a director of sales, you do, but really you have to let your team do that.
You gotta
have to really
manage,
kind of help manage the team. And not that I'm not good with numbers or all those things, and I feel like I could be really good at it, but I'm not passionate about that. I'm not at that space yet. So like for me, my next step needs to be something where I can really lean into that and I can continue to build this brand and make those
And
connections.
that's really
that I've made.
self-aware of you to like say that. Like I don't want to take that next step because a lot of people want progress just for
Yeah.
the sake of progress. And look, I'm moving up the ladder.
Right.
But what is the next move for you? Like where do you want to be in 5 years?
I want to go to global sales. That's where I see myself next, and like a global sales position where I represent multiple properties in a portfolio, multiple luxury lifestyle branded properties somewhere along the line of the Jacquard in that same space. Stonebridge doesn't have it yet, but if any of you are looking, I'm trying to put that energy out there because we could create that position for our new
Yeah, I was
luxury
gonna say, like-
lifestyle. But I just think next for me, I've only been in the industry. It'll be 3 years in August. Well, 4 years if you count front desk at a hotel, but 3 years in August.
Sure.
And I've been very fortunate to have some massive mega mentors across the country. And just at Conference Direct, I went for the second time in March and got invited to their private party with the planners from Conference Direct. And I was asked to sit at a round table and help lead a discussion. And
Wow.
Venue Hub, I was given the opportunity to go and speak. And I'm sitting on this podcast. And if I were to become a director of sales, I would have to step back
Right.
from those things and start leading a team.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want. And I've, again, like I said, had some amazing mentors in my life. And I think it was Beth Witzik was the first one who said to me, she was like, you need global sales. That's where you need to be. And then so many people that I know in the industry have kind of said the same thing to me.
see
Like
it.
that's kind of what a global salesperson will do.
Yeah.
Well, there's different kind of things. Like I'm not talking at like a Marriott or a Hilton. I don't want to do global sales and be sitting like that.
Right.
I want to represent multiple properties in a portfolio and be out really helping them shine, driving business to it, being the person who's not just representing the Jacquard when I'm at WEC or at Cvent Connect, but representing a whole portfolio. So instead of just driving business to one space, I'm driving it to many, and I can continue to build that. Now, 5-10 years from now, am I still going to want to be out networking all the time? I hope so, because I love it.
Right.
But we'll see. And in that space, maybe do I go director of sales? Do I go to a regional? Where do I go? But I know right now, that's what makes the most sense for me. That's where I feel like I'd be the happiest, and I think it just makes the most sense. So there's not as many of those out there and ready to go. You got to make kind of like
Right.
bide your time. And I'm very happy at the Jacquard, very happy where I'm at, but that's just kind of where I see my growth, my next step.
Well, may I?
Yeah, go.
Applauds to you.
Yeah.
Is that a word? It is now.
be.
Applauding. Anyway, whatever. Because look, when you're young in this industry, it's about the money. It really is. And for you, and I don't mean young as time, but when you're younger, when I was in my 20s, yeah, great. But applaud to you to not take just that next step that could easily land in your lap. Eric, everybody loves you. No question. And
I appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, but what's important is look, hotels are a flag. They're a room, there's a restaurant, there's space. In your world, it's all kind of the same. There's different levels, different qualities, of course, understood, different stars, but it's the same program.
I will say there is only one Jacquard.
There you
I'm
go.
representing
Plug.
it,
Whoop, whoop. But for you to not say, well, you know what, I've been offered this position at this much higher end hotel, this much higher end flag, is magnificent, because what you're doing is the most important thing that I hope from what you've talked about, how you want this to hit home with our industry, is you're taking care of yourself first.
Well, and also too, like if it was just about money, I'd go sell pharmaceuticals easily.
True.
Like I would just go and I'd sell pharmaceuticals, or I would go in another space where I could make a lot more money than I really ever could in events, except for maybe at like, you know, the highest levels. But I've found my tribe. I've so found my tribe. I've so found my people. Even when I was, you know, working the front desk, like in 2021 at a hotel, I just loved it. I loved my people. And then as I've come into this and I've met these people, I am so happy. I am so fulfilled. I think gratitude is such an important thing. Like I think if you can have gratitude in your life, no matter what it is, that is the key to happiness.
100%.
And I have so fucking much to be grateful for. Sorry, I keep sorry.
We all do.
Like I have so much to be grateful for in this hospitality industry.
Yeah.
Like I found the people with MPI, you guys, the connections that I've made, I'm gonna try to describe, like the connections that I've made, the people that have come into my lives have changed my life. So it's not, and I make good money, don't get me wrong, Jacquard takes care of me, I make really good money,
Sure.
but it's not about the money. Like
No.
I'm so happy, and the last thing I wanna do is jump the gun for more money and end up in a position where I lose that part of it that I just love.
Right.
It's not worth
Because
that
that
to
will
me.
become your new staple.
Yeah.
That
where you're
ain't gonna-
stuck.
It's not going to fill that void.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's we as an industry as a whole, the hospitality industry, we have magical opportunities. I love that word, magical, evidently. You know, my career started as a DJ in St. Louis, and then went and worked on cruise ships. And I slid into a lucky strike, and I did 3 years, so 6 contracts with Royal Caribbean and Celebrity.
Wow.
I slid in. It was just
Doing
luck.
what?
Onboard DJ and entertainment staff.
Oh, hell yeah.
If you look really hard on YouTube, which is where this is, and you search up Scotty O'Brien, BBC, The Cruise. Oh, no. BBC, the network in England.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Do not search that.
Right. Well, no. Holy, I didn't think about that shit. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? Mary is like, what is that? Anyway, tell you later, babe. Anyway.
I'll tell you later.
So Scotty O'Brien, BBC, The Cruise. I was at Right Place, Right Time in 1997, and they did a documentary on what it was like to work on a life behind the cruise ships.
Nice.
You could still find them on there. I was much skinnier then and wore terrible shoes. Yeah, okay. Anyway, but I got a slide in as a cruise director.
That must have been a blast. So
It was incredible.
So fun.
But, you know, I mean, I certainly honed in my people skills because 18 hours a day of on, you know, if Alaska was one of my favorite destinations, and, you know, we would go to the bar and try to get away from passengers because there's 2,000 of you asking us questions. You know, you try to get, and I see you like, oh, well, let's sit and talk. I want to hear your history. I'm like, I just want to have a beer. But it's the way it is. And there's no off time. It's 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. And it's fine. I loved it. It's awesome. It's great for a single guy.
Yeah.
You know, but to come back, I decided to come back to St. Louis and start a family. So I did, and that was awesome. My girls are amazing. And then, you know, that didn't work out or whatever in the loose. So, and COVID, and here I am. And, you know, in addition to my 2 amazing daughters, you know, now I have a 3rd incredible girl in my life, Ellie, that's Mary's daughter. She's wonderful. And, you know, and in this industry, I've just really found the home that I'm searching for. It's incredible to find this peace and happiness and, you know, and the struggles and challenges of growing a business. I love this challenge. I love this. Wish it'd be easier sometimes. But if it's easy, then you're not making much money on it. Put it that way.
Yeah, and that's the barrier to entry, right? Is like that it's not easy.
No.
If it was easy, then everyone would do it.
Well, that's funny because in the DJ world,
Yeah.
it's we can talk about that for a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's easy to go out and buy a pair of speakers and say you're a DJ, but
I literally just worked this past weekend, and I know that you'll appreciate this story. This gentleman, he was a DJ. He was a DJ.
Okay.
And I had actually worked with him before.
Okay.
And as soon as I saw it was him, I was just like, oh, shit.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no. And sure enough, it was like It was just bad. It was really bad. And I'm like, I started talking to him, and I'm like, hey, you know, do you do this full time? Like, is this kind of like your side hustle? He's like, no, I'm from Kansas, and I sell cars. And I'm like,
oh, there you go.
It shows. And not to hate on anyone who does DJing or any trade on the side.
Sure.
That's how I started.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, my first 2-3 years, I was working overtime at my 9 to 5. Yeah. Then I would go shoot 2 weddings on the weekend. So you have to start somewhere. But my point is, there's a big difference in the vendor world between a full-time DJ or photographer or whatever, florist, and a part-time. Right?
Yep.
Because you can say, well, I've been doing this for 10 years. Okay, well, you know, if I did more weddings last year than you did in 10 years, then there's a difference there. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like,
for 40 years, and I don't know how to make them. So, you know.
Exactly.
It's that world is very interesting because it's so easy to get into. You don't need a license. You know, there's nothing to it. You go up and say it, and then all right, you're it. And you did, you know, your cousin's wedding or whatever, and then a friend was there and said, well, that was all right, and it's cheap. You know, there's an old saying, clearly you get what you pay for. Jacquard's not cheap to stay at. Because it looks like it does, and it's awesome, and you're there. You know, but to back up that saying, one of my favorites, you know, the sweetness of low price is quickly forgotten about with the bitterness of poor quality. You know, there's a lot cheaper video guys out there than you, and you can see those results. So,
unfortunately, there's no way to go back and
and that's the problem, especially in the social world. Not so much corporate, because corporate's educated, they get it.
Yeah.
But in the social world, I face this all the time with B'nai Mitzvahs. I'm the most expensive in town, and proud to say it. You know, but I get a lot of calls after the fact, like, well, we should have.
Yeah.
Well, you can't. That's the problem. You know, and I view that with the experience I bring to the table and the knowledge and how to move an audience, and Carrie and I, that we can charge a premium because, you know, I learned the word luxury when I moved here because we didn't have luxury in St. Louis. What are you going to do, right? Here, people have a lot of money, and if they value it, they'll spend a lot of money because it works well. But at the same time, the money is great, but it has to be worth their spend. You know, if they came in, and I don't know what the rates at the Jacquard are, but, you know, if they pay a premium compared to what they're used to paying, they're going to expect a clean room to a T. The service that you guys provide, your front desk staff is magnificent.
Well, thank you.
You feel like family when you walk in there. And that's stuff you don't get when you check into a lower flagged motel. I mean,
well, not always. There can be a lower flagged motel that treats you great, but when I get that response, when people say to me, "Oh, well, you're this much higher, or you're this much higher than whoever," I won't name any of the competition. My immediate response is always, "Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. We justify that rate. We are one of the premier properties in hotel, and we're in town, and we're going to provide you with a certain level of service."
Yes.
Now, with that said, what are they offering you? What sessions are they offering you?
Right.
What's on the table with them? Let me show you how the money you're spending with me is actually going to get you better bang for your buck. Because
Understood.
This is what you're going to get here. This is the level of service that your people are going to get, X, Y, and Z, whatever concessions I can offer. Like, how can I show you the value that I'm offering to you? So I think it's just all about the biggest in sales in general, like, you know, the worst thing you can ever do is undervalue yourself.
Understood.
The worst thing you can ever do is say that, oh, we want to be cheaper. We want to be the lowest price.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean that I will not negotiate a price with you as best I can. I want to sell it as bad as you want to be with us, and let's find a way that we can meet and find something that works for us all. But I hate it when people will say, and it's something, training salespeople, which I've done my whole life, and I've done now that I've been in the hotel industry, and you bring people on. It's a lesson that is really, really hard for a lot of salespeople to learn. Is number one, we don't want all business unless we can shift business, for one. Right. So the business, the way you brought it to me, doesn't work for our hotel. It's not good. It doesn't make sense.
Understood.
It's not a good deal. Now, can I shift you a day and make it good for my hotel? Can I shift you a week and make it good for your hotel? Or are you willing to pay a premium that is much higher than you're going to pay somewhere else to have it at my hotel? Because that's the only way it makes sense. So that's a lesson that's really, really hard to teach to people, because no one wants to turn business down. And at the end of the day, I would rather turn business down if we can't make it so it's a win-win for both of us, so that tomorrow I can bring in business that's going to flow perfectly for my hotel and make sure that not just group is satisfied, but our transient business is satisfied and our negotiated business is satisfied, so that everything kind of flows.
Understood.
And at the end of the day, that's, if you can shift a day, maybe then you're going to get that rate that's comparable with the other place that you were looking, but you're still going to get our level of service. Like, how can we make this work? It's all about finding ways to tell people yes instead of finding ways to tell people no when you can't work with them, is what I think.
I agree. It's, yes, you're getting ready to say something.
Not at all.
Oh, you know, in my world, you know, the entertainment side, we'll stick with that. The DMC is a whole different ball game because, you know, it's kind of fits along your program, but you know, there's so many different cheap options out there. And it's funny, I remember DJ Times as a industry magazine. There's DJ conventions in Atlantic City that I haven't attended since pre-COVID, or no, since COVID, but I used to go speak at these things. Just imagine 2,000 of me in one ballroom in Atlantic City.
There are not 2,000 of you on this planet.
Oh, there are. They're all on the East Coast, though. That's why it's so loud over there. But, you know, I wrote an article right towards the middle of COVID for the DJ Times magazine. Now it's called DJX or something. And it was about standing your ground. Because I talked to a dear friend of mine in Staten Island, and he was telling me about how in the mitzvah market, because he's the guy that taught me on mitzvahs, that you know, the local guys are just, you know, slicing each other down and taking it cheap as we can get it and throwing in all the extra accessories, if you will, amenities in the world for free just to book that business to feed their family. And while that's understood, I understand you have mouths to feed, but then you're also damaging the industry.
And devaluing your own company
Very,
service.
Very much so. Mm-hmm. And my point of the article that I wrote, which was, I thought it was awesome, was just because it's tough now, don't lower your price, because now we have social media and everybody will spread the word. And because of that, now that becomes the norm. So, you know, hoteliers, you know, I watched rates. Hoteliers through COVID kept pretty steady, which is awesome, because now let's just pretend a nice hotel's room is $400 a night. Well, if they brought it down to $250, well, that's what we expect now. Mm-hmm. You can't.
Well, and it's also, you're now a $250 a night room hotel.
Understood.
So when I've seen that a lot too, both when I worked the Boulder market, when I worked the Denver market, there's times when people are really trying to get business and they try to dive to the bottom right away. People try to dive to the bottom. And what you do is, if I'm sitting at our standard rate, which should be for our market, should be for our comp set, and all of a sudden you come in, or whoever comes in, you know, $200 under, or whatever under that, at a bottom barrel price, anyone who doesn't really know what you have to offer looks at those two and immediately sees you as a lesser value.
Yes.
So you just made my job easier.
Yeah.
You just made it so much easier for me to show them, even if I do come down, which I'm not going to come down to a bottom basement, but if you're at a lower level and I do come down to meet it, you just made it so much easier for me to tell that client that I'm the better value. I'm the better property. I'm the one with the better services, because they are already seeing that with where I placed myself and where you placed yourself. So now all I have to do is make sure I can hit their budget, and they're going to want to go with me. No one wants to go with the cheaper place that they can go. They want to go with the place that's the best value, that gives them the most services, the most bang for their buck.
Now, I love what you said. I completely agree. I have a longtime commercial client that they know full well what my rates are. And they hit me up. I'm not going to name names, but they hit me up literally today saying, hey, we have an event this weekend. Oh, and by the way, we have this tiny little budget for it. So I don't know how you guys treat this, but for me, this is almost like, okay, at one side of me wants to go the extra mile for this client.
Sure, it's a repeat client.
This is like a 3-4 year client that has literally netted me a lot. It's a lot of money over the last 3 years.
That's okay to do.
So I'm like, okay, I want to be there for them. I want to do what's right for them. But at the same time, am I empowering them to, number one, hit me up last second for their event that they've known about for 9 months later, and also expect that lower price now moving forward? Am I enabling them? But if I don't take it, they go find another photographer. And
what if he's cheaper and they like
what if he crushes it, and then all of a sudden I lose this client? So I'm not sure how to even, like, I still don't know really the correct balance, But what I do is I give them a very strongly worded email, and I say, listen, this is not our standard rate.
Right.
I need you to understand that I am doing you a favor,
Right.
and this is a one-off deal, and I'm doing this because
Right.
because you are a longtime client.
Right.
If you were coming to me and I didn't know you, this is our first interaction together,
Yeah.
absolutely not. So I just remind them of that. I do have to disagree with you on your point
Okay.
of because I see this a lot in the video market. I like interacting with other videographers on Facebook and in these groups.
Sure.
And I hear the same sentiment from longtime videographers of, you know, just kind of shitting on the new guys of saying, you know, you guys shouldn't be doing weddings for $500. And I agree with that in some ways of like, you are devaluing your market. But at the same time, I've also been that guy.
Yeah.
I've also been that guy that I wasn't doing it full time. This was all just gravy, right?
Right.
I already
right.
had my
It's a
paycheck.
side gig. You already got your money.
Yeah, I don't care.
I could go buy new equipment with my extra couple thou.
Exactly. I'm just
Understood.
trying to like pay for the drone that I went out and bought.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's not up to them to set the market value. It's
Sure.
up to you to demonstrate your value and show the client why you are better than them.
Sure.
Now, the second point to that is I also see in like Brides of Colorado, where you get these brides that are like, oh my gosh, I just got screwed over by this company, and they're trying to just absolutely just torch this company.
I've seen it.
I don't feel bad for them. And the reason why is because it takes very little research to understand the longevity of a company, the reliability, the reputation of a company, and
Understood.
understand what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It takes very little just browsing through social media, browsing through reviews to know what you're getting. If you're going to go for that budget thing, you got to understand that you're really rolling the dice. And so I kind of put it at their feet of like, if there's someone that wants a first-time videographer for $500, the videographer's cool with the arrangement, the client's cool with the arrangement, have at it, okay? Because
Well,
they're
they
not
signed
they're
up
not our
knowing
client.
that.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Right.
And yes, it does kind of reset the market value, but to be really transparent, the way that I come up with our pricing we try to price out ourselves for 5 years.
Okay.
But realistically, we probably reevaluate our pricing every 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And the way that I do it is legitimately I just go to the cheapest guy in town, I go to the most expensive guy in town, and I take the median of that and I try to land somewhere in the middle. I'm not the most expensive, but I am definitely not the cheapest. You know what I'm saying? I try to be that middle of the road. And really where our value comes is we are giving a above average product for a below average price. I'm just going to be really honest.
Sure.
And we do it, like you said, consistently.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times we're booked out of convenience. A lot of times we're booked out of just like, I don't want somebody to come in and screw this up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Is there a better photographer, videographer out there? Yeah. But they're going to cost probably double,
Sure.
you know? Or there's a lot cheaper videographer out there, but I have no idea what I'm going to get.
Right.
So I do have to disagree with you a little bit there.
Sure.
Just because there's always going to be those people, and it's not up to them. Like, they're new to the industry. They don't give a shit about the median price or the market price,
No,
what it's supposed to
they
be.
don't even know about it yet.
Right, exactly. So I'm like, I feel like it's more up to us as, you know, more tenured vendors to demonstrate why that's valuable. And that's part of like what's so hard about the sales pitch is like, if I show you this video and you go out and watch someone else's video and you can't tell the difference, you
Then
should
spend
probably
the
go with
cheaper
the
money.
other guy.
Yeah.
You should go with the other guy.
Right.
Now, someone with a keen eye can understand like, okay, this video is clearly head and shoulders better than this other one. That's my client. And if they can't see the difference, then they're not. I don't want them.
Right.
And not in like a mean way, but like, I just don't. Yeah, I don't want like the first.
Well, you pick
interaction
your
that we have.
clients.
To some degree, yeah.
Yeah, that's something important. And when you first start, you don't have that option. You know, I mean, I lose 80% of the business that comes in to either bids or bids. It's money directed, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Couldn't say that 20, 30 years ago. That was impossible. But, you know, in my world, the entertainment world, the DMC world, casino nights, team building, I mean, yeah, all of it really, they're buying me.
Right.
You know, I'm the face of the company. I'm the guy that's going to show up. You know, that's a guarantee when we do events, because now, you know, I've made it public. Hey, we only do one event at a time. I thought about that when I moved to Denver, and then, well, maybe I could book more, but no, I'm 51 and this is where I want to be. I'm happy with it. I'm able to do the stuff I want to do and see good things happen. But you know, I take a lot of pride in the product that we deliver. I really do.
I can tell. Yeah, it's very apparent. From,
you know,
Well, I think the key is reputation too. Like, if
it's
you
not
like,
money anymore.
go to your website. Just go to your website and look at it. They're going to clearly, either one of you, they're going to clearly see that you're not the guy who's selling it for $500 who's just starting out, who's doing it on the side.
Right.
You've built this reputation. You're both very involved in the industry. Like, people should know what they're getting. And to your point, if they don't, well, then go to the $500 guy. Like, go to the $500 guy, have hopefully a good time, or maybe don't have a good time, and then next time do more research or look for the difference. But at the end of the day, if you don't know the difference between a casino night put on by you or someone who brings a card table and like just does blackjack, well, then go with the cheap person. You know what I mean? If you don't know the difference between someone who can put something like this together and someone who just like has a Kodak, go with that person. You know what I mean? It's just kind of, and I'm not in the vendor side, so I'm not really in that side of it.
Right.
But I just think it's very clear, especially for the two of you, just to look at your.
But it's the same
where
way.
you're
If
at,
somebody walks through the Holiday Inn, okay,
Yeah.
and then they walk through the lobby of the Jacquard, and they can't tell the difference,
seriously. Yeah.
they should go to the Holiday Inn.
Well,
if they're okay with the Holiday Inn,
they're
they should
blind,
go with
deaf,
that.
and dumb if they can't. But you know what I mean? Something's going on.
Well, same with the person going with the $500
Yeah.
videographer. But I rest my case.
Yeah.
Right.
So, if now you guys have said a lot of great things about the Denver, Colorado event community, but what are some things that if you could wave a magic wand and change one thing about our event industry, what would it be?
Drama. I'll just leave it at that. There's drama in this world that doesn't need to be. So let's all just be friends. Let's all get along and work together.
I run as fast as possible away from drama.
I have learned to. It took me a minute. But I've learned to do that. So yeah. Again, like I said, you know, we'll all make mistakes because I've made plenty. But as long as you're forward thinking, thank you, Jeff Libby, forward moving, focused on becoming a better you, and that's including not just personally, but your organization. That in our cases, that you know we work for. In your case, you know, your organization itself. Yeah, there's going to be hiccups along the way, but as long as you're moving forward to become better,
Right.
Then there should be grace, and that's a very important piece to being human. Is allow grace for each other. Because look, nobody's perfect. I haven't met that person yet. Well, maybe Eric. But besides that, we have to allow grace and forgiveness to become better with each other. So
I would just say that's, to me anyway, more like a human trait. I wouldn't say it's just the events industry. I think just in general, like people as humans, we should be giving each other more grace and less drama and things like that. I haven't really experienced any drama in the events. I guess there's been things that have happened that could have been drama and things at different spaces, but
Sure.
I wouldn't change a thing just because, like I said before, I'm so
Really?
so blessed.
Nothing?
I'm so happy. Not about like the associations or our industry community, because I'm so blessed. I'm so great. Like, why would there's, you know, the
See, I think
butterfly
you're full of
effect.
shit.
No, there's like the butterfly effect. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to change, listen, I've been through some shit in my day
Right.
that we won't go through on this podcast. And there's things that I could easily say I'd change. I wouldn't change a thing about my existence and
Really?
the things that got me this far. No, because
But
I'm
the
actually
industry as a
happy in
whole.
my own thing now. The industry as a whole, oh my God, what could we change? I'd have to think on it. But as far as like the association and our local community, no, I wish people were more, I wish the greater community were really able to see the hearts of all the people who are really
Yes.
truly involved.
Yeah.
Because
That's a
I
good
will
one.
say there are few people who are there and who are involved in whatever association that it is because they want that recognition. They want
Right.
someone to see them. They're on a board because they want to be seen as being on that board. That is there. I
Yeah.
see it firsthand. It happens. I don't mean like with my own board, but I mean in different spaces. I see it happen.
Sure.
But the majority of the people that are involved, so are such good people and who really care.
Sure.
What I'm getting at is when I first came into the industry and I first started getting involved with MPI, I heard from a few different people the same thing. I heard that, it's really cliquey. Just, it's cool, it can be great, but MPI is really cliquey. I heard that over and over again. Not over and over. I heard it like 2 or 3 times.
Sure.
And so I came in thinking, is it really cliquey? And then I realized that, yeah, they're cliquey because they click. but that doesn't exclude you from being a part of it. Just because those two people like love each other, those 10, 15, 20 people truly click with each other, doesn't mean they don't want you to be a part of that clique. Because I came into it and I'd heard that, and I was immediately welcomed in as part of that clique. Even though I hear frequently from the people I've become very close with that I'm very different than anybody who's ever come into the industry like me before. I've kind of had a different path and a different way that I've came into it. But they let me in. I didn't have to do any differently than who I was, and they let me right into this clique, and I become a part of it. And I've seen that the reason why they click is because they really care. So I wish people on the outside looking in could see how genuine 95% of the people who are involved truly are, and how much they really want to lift you up. And whether that's MPI, pre-CMA, NACE, the people who are involved, how much they really, really do care and really want you to get more out of it. I wish people could see that without becoming as involved as they are.
Eric, that's a speak to you again. This is the Pat the Eric on the Back show.
Yeah, I think
because it should be, because back to our original word, you're authentic. And people see that you are transparent and lovable, and just you're genuine. You know,
I try to be.
There's nothing hidden about you, and I think people adore that about you. I do.
I appreciate that.
So, you too. Not as much fun.
No, that's a great point that you make, because I have noticed that as well. You know, I came in trying to fill Cal's shoes, who, you know, for anybody who's been around long enough to know Cal, he was friends with everybody. And it is hard not to take it that personally when, you know, there are people that are so close in the industry. That doesn't mean that, like you said, that they're not welcoming you as well. It's just that they have more commonalities. They have more things in common. They enjoy each other's company, and there's something, you know, it doesn't discount anything that's
They also have the same fears and insecurities of everyone else. So when you go to an event and when you go in there, even if it's someone who knows everybody and is connected with everybody and who has all those friendships, they have the same insecurities being in that group as you do.
Oh, heck yeah.
It is that's why they gravitate to the people who they know and they love and they trust, because those are the people who, when they're there, they feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
I try really hard to make sure I sit with people I don't know and do those kind of things and bring people in. Even that, it makes me insecure, but it's something that I've tried to overcome and try to get past. And I think that's the thing that people misread the cues. It's not that they're together because they don't want you to be there. They're together because just as uncomfortable as you feel in that moment, they would feel as uncomfortable if they weren't with those people. And I think that if people could see that that's all it is and they want you to be a part of it, then you'd be more comfortable just coming in and becoming a part of it. Because I see it happen all the time. I love it when I see a new member who will come. Because I've done new member orientation for the last year when I was chair of member care. Now we've got people who have taken it on, but I've seen people who come in and you can see they're like kind of nervous, don't really know how to go, but then they just connect with that right person. They connect with that right person and they have a really good time, and then they're full on in and they're on a committee and they're getting involved and they're starting to build it. And then every time they come, they meet another person and they have another person they can talk to.
Yeah, and I love that. And I love whenever I see either of you guys at a networking event, I'm like, okay, I got a friend here. I got a friend in Scotty. I got a friend in Eric.
You didn't like me, though, you said.
But
he grew
but I do now.
Okay.
But like I see what you're saying, because there's always that like that first time person, like at MPI. There's a gentleman that, you know, I knew it was his first time. I asked him, I'm like, hey, kind of seemed like he didn't have a lot of friends, and I was like, hey, is this your first time? He's like, yeah. We went and sat, we talked for a while, and I didn't see him for probably 3 or 4 months down the road at another meeting. And I didn't really remember the guy, but he remembered me. Like he remembered that conversation, and it was really valuable to him. And I did kind of remember him. I didn't remember his name, but he was like, hey, you're that guy that, like, you know. So that sticks out. And I've always been one of those people. You know, when I was growing up, I went to 16 schools in 12 years, so I moved around a lot.
You got kicked out of that many schools.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, but I would always like gravitate towards, you know, the people that needed a friend, because I've been there. I've been the new person on the block, and I understand how valuable that is to have somebody like kind of reach down and say, hey, listen, I'm going to take you under my wing. You got a friend in me. Let's go kick some ass. And so I try to try to do that for other people. when I see them feeling uncomfortable. And I've also, as far as like recruiting for these different associations, people always, it's weird because this never used to happen. But over the last 2 or 3 years, I get so many people messaging me, emailing me, hey, what do you ever get referrals from this? That's the wrong question to ask, of course.
So wrong question.
Do you get referrals from this group? It's like,
So the wrong question.
I think, I'm not really sure, but they'll start asking me, what do you think of this group? What do you think of this group? But it's the wrong question to ask.
Wrong
It's
question.
not about, are you getting referrals from this group? Because
Are you
people
building a
think that.
connection?
Exactly. Are you building a connection? Because connections lead to referrals, but not always.
Direct.
So what I always say,
Well, not always right away. Sometimes
right.
you got to wait 5 or 6 years
Yeah.
to
always.
keep going back to it.
Yep.
Fig, one of those 3 women I brought up, you guys both know her. Fig
Yeah.
gave me the
She's
best
amazing.
advice ever before I went into my very first trade show. It was MIC. And she said, Eric, you can sell everybody in here, but if you do, that's a mistake. Go in and make a friend.
Yeah.
And I've lived by it ever
Wow.
since then. And it's the best advice I ever could have gotten. And it's so like viscerally a part of me now that I go in, I don't ever go in trying to sell you anything. I'll gladly talk about my property if we have the opportunity to, but I would much rather get to know you as a person.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, if you're any good at your job, I should already have your RFP. You should already know what I'm doing. Like we should already have that. It should already be there. It's very, very, very rare that you're going to go into any situation, whether it's a networking situation, whether it's a thing where you have 40 appointments and you're going across the country, where that person has an RFP for you that you don't already have or wouldn't already have.
Yeah.
But if you can go in and you can really form a connection and get someone to remember you and want to work with you, Jeanette, the other one I brought up,
Right.
she always says people want to work with people who they know, like, and trust. And she's a planner, so she knows what she's talking about.
Yep.
And that it's true. Like, people want to work with someone they like. So if you can make a connection and get to know somebody, when they do have that right piece of business for you, they're going to think about you. They're going to
Absolutely.
send it to you and you're going to get it. So you just have to switch your mind from like ROI, immediate ROI, what am I getting out of this, to more like, how am I connecting out of this? What connections am I making? Am I making a friend? And I get business all the time through people that I've met at different events and different spaces and through MPI. And I get referrals all the time, but none of it is because I was at an event and I was like, oh, hey, do you have business for me? I have the Jacquard. What can you send me? That's just not how it works.
Yeah.
I made a connection. I'm also very active on my social media. So like my trick, I guess is what I do, is I never send follow-up emails unless I've been asked specifically to. Like if someone says, hey, email me about this or have this, of course I'm going to follow up and I'm going to email you. But if I just went to an event, like I went to the event last week, I may have emailed you before the event. I'm very big about that if you're someone I want to connect with, or I may have sent you a gift before the event if I wanted to. But after the event, I'm never going to email you because I know that everybody who's there, who's trying to get that business, the people you met with, the people you didn't, they're all going
Right.
to email you. So what I do...
It's spammy.
Exactly. What I do is I take a picture with you, I tag you on my social media,
Yep.
and I post all the time. And I don't do it just for that reason, but it does kind of, it all comes full
So
circle.
you stole Scotty's trick.
I think he stole mine, but I
Oh,
post on
right.
social
Who
media,
started
and
that?
then
That stupid open mouth.
You guys are like the
thing.
king of the selfies.
since you're now my friend and we've connected, you're going to organically see me when you get on your feed. You're going to see me posting about the Jacquard or about this tonight, this
Yeah.
podcast that I'm in,
Right.
and I'm going to be top of mind. So I don't have to email you and be like, hey, do you have business for me? You're going to get on your social feed and you're going to see
Right.
me. And then you're going to think when you do have that business, hey, what about Eric? And I might follow up with you in like a couple months or at another time. Or
Sure.
It's not like I don't try to reconnect with people, but the last thing I ever want to be is somebody who's just, you want to make sure that people are seen as a person. No one wants to be just a number. No one wants to be someone that you're
Understood.
like, don't ever send out the bulk emails, just same email to everybody, bulk
Nope.
email.
Nope.
After the event, you've sent it to everyone. That immediately triggers in their mind, oh, they don't remember me at all.
Yeah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
number
Right.
to them.
I want you to look
And-
and think, hey, Eric was so fun to talk to. We talked about, I always ask people to, the question I do use now, and I've been telling people to use it, so hopefully they are too, is what are you excited about? Not what do you do, like what are you excited about?
Yeah.
What's exciting in your
love
life
that.
right now?
I love that.
Like it makes you think. It makes you actually think about something, and then back
Right.
to the
It takes
listening
them out of
thing.
their box of just the sales.
Well, and the key is too, you have
Yeah.
to stop and actually listen to what they're saying and like
Right.
take it in
back
and
and
make a
listen.
real connection.
Yeah.
It totally changes the game, and that's where real ROI comes in. That's
Right.
where real connection comes in, and that's where you'll start to see things pile in after that. I mean, I couldn't even begin to count the amount of business and the amount of money that I booked from connections that I've made, but it's maybe once or twice has it been because someone happened to have an RFP right at that moment.
Yeah.
But that's it.
I have a love-hate relationship with social media.
Yeah.
You guys are both very active on it. I have moments where I'm active, and I have moments where I just go dark for like a month.
Sure.
And it's not really intentional. It's just like
busy.
No, it's not even that. It's just
Okay.
I don't know. Especially with a family and stuff, I just don't want people. I don't know. Sometimes I just want to shut off a little bit. Like I don't want people to see.
And that's okay.
You know,
Yeah,
I don't want
that's
people
good.
to see everything, what I'm eating, what I'm doing all the time.
Oh, you mean like me?
But with business, you have to be active on social
Well,
media. So.
you're that's interesting. I love because I'm a dad. Old sayings: out of sight, out of mind. I've met with many hoteliers, and you meet with them. Just speaking because you're here. You don't stay forefront, not your case, but if you don't stay on their mind, well, there's somebody else they can talk to.
Right.
So it's a timeliness thing. It really is. I'm excited because I like the way that you said, not bulk emailing and stuff like that. With building the DMC, I've done something that I'm excited about. I was horrified about AI, but now I'm a lover.
Cool. Once you start to use it, it's crazy.
Well, it's awesome. So what we're doing, other DMCs do not take this idea because it's mine. But what we're doing is, of course, we're emailing a Visit Denver list and other stuff like that, Destination Colorado. But along with it, we're personalizing each email. Hey, Susie, love to introduce myself. Welcome to Denver, our home. But we use HeyGen, so that's a AI video software that will customize and use their name. I can't record 100 videos a day. I mean, I'll try, but HeyGen, you type in your script and it's down. They've got it, man. They've got it, and that video will go along with
It's pretty cool.
Hey, Susie, I'm Scotty O'Brien. Nice to meet you. And I don't have to record the same video. Now, if I'm working on a larger client, whether it be a family or a corporate client or something like that, it's not necessarily over a certain dollar amount, but if it's a piece of business that I really want, we all know I love doing videos. And I can crank them out quick, so I'll do a personal video for it. Hey, Eric, I'm super excited to work with you. You told me about your needs. Here's what we can do. Please let me know what I can do to serve you and how we can customize your event, stuff like that. So, video, you're in the right world, man. I mean, certainly it speaks to everybody, and social media. I believe you're right on point too. I like sharing my life. That's just me.
I think it all leads back to authenticity too. Like it's another thing. Social media is one of the things that I hit when I did my talk. Like if you're not a social media person, you're not. You just have to find your way. So maybe your way is a handwritten card to somebody.
Sure.
Maybe like whatever it is that you find your way that you're going to connect. You have to be authentic with you.
Understood.
For me, on social media, I think the reason why people always say you're good at it is because I don't care. I care, I'm invested, but like I really don't. I just post the pictures. I don't second guess what I look like. I don't second guess what I'm saying. I write what I feel in that moment and I just post it. I'm not concerned about like release. I always try to like, at times like bring in the Jacquard, highlight it, those kind of things, but I just kind of put what's there and put it out there and try to be as real and as authentic as I can. And I think that just like we were talking about before, it's all about authenticity. So if you're posting on social media and it is just ads that you're trying to put out there, that's fine because I think those things are important, but it's going to read as that. Whereas if you just have to be you. You have to be able to just be you. And the more that you are you, the more people will see that and respond to it or not.
I put a lot of my personal life on there and stuff that I've been through in my childhood and growing up. I've written a book, struggles as a father and going through what I went through at the end of my time in St. Louis. I want people to get to know me. Not everybody's going to like me, and I'm okay with that. But, I think I'm a good person. I'm not proud. I'm very humble. But I like to share who I am with other people. Because in my mind, we talked about this, love languages, during dating, receiving gifts is a big part of a love language. I don't want to receive. Sure I do, I guess, but I'd rather give because I want to see you smile.
Well, I think that goes back to like the realness factor of it is, one of my biggest problems is people post this kind of facade on social media. Sure. And that's why I like to see, Jeff's has been doing this a lot lately where it's like, and I see that from you too, where it's like, you're posting like these, and I love to read those.
Yeah.
You ever notice that where you're like you can all you
Yeah,
can,
it's a mile long.
it's a mile long, and you can feel it in the first like 2 sentences. You're like, this is some real shit right here.
Right.
You know, this is them actually giving
You're
you a
pouring
little
your
bit
heart out.
inside.
Dude, if I put an ad out for mitzvahs, yeah, I'll get 10 likes. If I pour out something that, Layla and I, or when Noel was here, we went out with Uncle Eric and Jonathan and Destiny, and we had an incredible time. There's 100 likes.
Right.
Because now you're finding that connection, that you're showing that you're a real person.
There's a vulnerability factor.
Yeah, and it's not just all about sell.
Right, and it's not about your wins either, because I feel like a lot of times you post your wins and people are like, do I want to support this? Do I want to be a hater? I don't know. So, real quick, you guys kind of answered this already, but I thought that this might be a good like segue. What advice would you give someone who like is trying? And I actually asked you this already for the CEA thing, but what advice would you give to someone who's trying to break into the industry?
To get out there, meet people, get your foot in the door. Like I said earlier, if people just knew how much we really want to welcome you in, you'd already be in. So just come and be involved. Get out there.
Yeah, you
meet
have to
people.
get involved. There's a difference. I spent 35 years on boards and committees, with MPI in St. Louis, ILEA, which priorly was named ISIS. I don't know why they changed it. Anyway,
it's a great name.
I was actually on the committee in Seattle that helped change that name. I didn't know why. And NACE, sure, you can attend the meetings, but if you get involved, you serve on a board, you become part of it, you immerse yourselves in it, then you're going to get a much bigger return. I think some of the best stuff to do is be on boards, or a committee with a group, because now you're working hand in hand. And you're like, I didn't know you did that.
Just give of yourself. You
got to give of yourself.
Agreed.
For the longest time, I always thought, well, I'll sponsor these events, I'll put up great photos, and I'll just get business, right? It doesn't work that way. It's not a transactional relationship.
Exactly.
Nope.
And I got to give Jared a shout out on this one, right? Because the MPI Gala that we went to, it was the very first networking event that he had ever been to.
Which Jared? You're Jared?
Jared, yeah.
I don't know.
He's right
Jared
there.
Judd.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he, we go in, and we're sponsoring the event. I'm the photographer, the official photographer, so I immediately get to work, right?
Right.
I'm pretty short with people because I'm about my shit, right? I'm like,
Right.
I'm locked in.
You're doing your job.
And Jared comes in, and he's like, well, what can I do? And I'm like, I don't know, like, just get out there and start talking to people.
You told me about this. Is the guy you're talking about?
Yeah, he jumps in and
Understood.
immediately starts helping Jeanette with packaging up.
Oh, that's
the
right. He
awards.
was the guy
Yeah.
who didn't know who anybody was, so he was allowed to look at the awards. Is that right? Yeah.
Right.
So
And he's pretty.
and Jeanette just has like the biggest crush on him. You
He's
know what
doing
I'm
it.
saying?
Oh,
Like,
Jeanette,
like-
are you watching?
Not like that, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
Right.
just was I've known Jeanette for years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, and really was never able to like break through.
Right.
And it's because I was looking at this very transactionally.
Yeah.
Like, well, if she likes my photos, she'll respect the fact that I've sponsored MPI. Like, at the end of the day, does that move the needle for Jeanette? No. Like,
Right.
Jeanette wants to see someone's true
Jeanette
character.
wants to work with people she knows, likes, and trusts.
Exactly,
If you're watching
exactly.
this, Jeanette,
And
better get points for that because she says it all the time.
Right.
yeah,
I heard her
and
say that.
I don't know if Jared, if it was accidental or if he figured something out that took me years to figure out. I don't know. I'll have to give him credit on this one, but
Sure.
it's like that's what you have to do. You have to jump in. You have to be willing to give of yourself and not expect anything in
Yeah.
return. Like, you can't do it because of the ROI.
That's the
You have
key.
to just do it
Right.
because it's the right thing to do. Jeanette needs some help. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to help her. And now we got our first gig with Jeanette.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
So we're, what is it, November? In November?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working with Jeanette. Albeit, it's a lower budget thing, but that's okay. We got our foot in the door,
She
and
does
we're gonna
some
blow
real
her
big budget
mind.
stuff too.
And I promise you, we'll be your go-to people from
Yeah.
here on out. So, yeah, that would be my advice, I guess, in a roundabout way, is like, if you are a new person, so many people are like too proud to do what they would consider free work or volunteer work.
Ridiculous.
Well, you're not going to get very far if you don't. So I would, that's my recommendation.
If that's all you care about, then that's what you're going to get out of it. What you're going to put in, what you're going to get out. It's
right. And I mean, you came through, did the laser skeet thing for me for our staff party. Eric hooked me up with free hotel rooms. I mean, so it's
really?
Yeah, dude.
Can I?
You I
gotta.
He did our holiday party and crushed it. He came in. It was like a club in Vegas. Turned it all out for probably less money than he paid the people to come and do it. He crushed it for us.
It was so fun.
I mean, I literally have an envelope on my desk that says free shit, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And like, I never use any of it, but it's so cool to know that you're in an industry where people are like, "Hey, I want to bless you with this." So yeah.
Well, can I, if I may, real quick? You know, MPI. The first call I made was when I got here was Freddie.
That's
because I didn't know anybody else. And said, you know, I looked at the calendar and said, "Hey, I see your annual's coming up. I want to be part of it. Let me know. I'll donate everything." And that was my first end. It was complete. It cost me a decent amount of money, which at the end of COVID sucked. However, I knew, you know, I believe, because I've done this for so long, God, I sound old, is that I'll give and expect nothing in return. And I'll give before I get back. That's
I also think
you burn sometimes.
You get so much in return, even if it's not money or business. I've gotten so much from. Well, I don't own a business like you guys. I haven't put a lot of money into it. I've given a room for my hotel, which has nothing to do with me, but I put a lot of my time into these things.
Yeah.
And it's given me so much more than like business ever could, and like friendships and the return from that, and that card from that kid, like the things that it's given me that mean so much more than any of that other stuff ever could. Plus, business has rolled in from it too eventually, but it's like the things that I've really gotten that have really mattered to me is like the connections, like that I'm sitting here doing this podcast. Like this is such a cool thing. You know what I mean? Like,
see, I love it. It's stressful, but I look forward to this every month.
I thought I might puke when it was first about to start. I was like, oh my God.
Therapeutic.
Now it is. I feel super chill. I remember
Yeah.
I watched the last one last month, and Dawn was like, "Yeah, you got to just feel like you're having a conversation." And I was like, right at first, I was like, "Oh my God, if I just puke over the back, can they cut that out?" And then
I was
within a
nervous
few
too.
minutes,
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, we're just these are my friends. We can just sit here and talk."
Yeah, you guys did great, and thank you for coming on. We
Yeah,
do have
of
to wrap it up because we're getting close to 8. But
All
Why?
right.
right?
I thought
mean,
you had-
we
you
can
had
turn it off.
Q&A.
Hey.
We'll go offline and we'll keep chatting. But I do want to give a shout out to our tech team.
Oh, yes.
Vinny and Matt behind the deck. Good job, gentlemen. Vinny does our audio. Matt does our tech switching, and Jared's creeping around behind the cameras, keeping him
He's
in
just
frame,
looking
but
good, man. That's all it is.
more than anything, he's getting ready to host in August. So tune in August, the last Tuesday of August. So it's always the last Tuesday of each month. Next episode is going to be Casey with 2-1 Photography, and Bridget Molloy.
It's
she's
Bridget
going to be
Malloy.
so
Malloy.
good. I don't know if it's Malloy
I've
or
never met
Molly.
her.
It was just her
It's Bridget
anniversary.
Malloy.
She's
She is.
a former teacher. She's a rock star
Yeah.
speaker. She's going to crush it.
Yeah.
She'd be so good.
Maybe I have met her, but I don't know her.
wonderful. So she owns a company called Bridget's Botanicals, which
Yeah.
is in
So good.
Littleton, downtown Littleton. I've hired her a few times so far.
She sponsored the last event at the
Yeah,
Jacquard when you were
yeah,
there.
right,
She was at
right.
the table. Everybody was at their table. You probably couldn't really see her because she was doing the botanics, the herbs and the teas and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
She's booked 2 or 3 events just
Yeah.
since
She
that
does
thing 'cause she's
custom,
so good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
She does customs, and she's just
All kinds of stuff, yeah.
She
Well, yeah.
does tea building, not
Yeah,
team
she,
building. Tea building. I love it.
She reached out. She watched the last episode, reached out, and I was like, sure,
Perfect.
we'll be on.
She's awesome.
Yeah. So
She's such a good speaker.
You wanna hear
too.
authentic?
She's going to crush it.
Yep. She's in that line. She really is.
well, I'm excited to talk to her. So tune in next month, last Tuesday of the month. We'll have Casey with 2-1 Photography and Bridget Malloy. And also, just wanted to say, if you're a person that's watching this and this conversation resonates with you, hit me up. We're always looking for guests. We are also looking for sponsors because it does cost money. So if you want to
Make it rain, baby.
make it rain on us, we are ready for it. We are looking for sponsors, so if you are a business, you want some extra exposure, that's kind of our viewership is the event industry. So if that's something that you want to do, we would love for your sponsorship, and we're trying to grow this thing. We're trying to make it look as good as any podcast out there, and it's one of a kind, and we're super proud of it. Also, if you're a venue that wants to host, we are also trying to kind of work that in since, like I said, we're in the same ecosystem as Venue Hub. We do want to just spread as much love as possible. So with that said, episode 4, cheers, gentlemen. Thank you for coming on,
Well,
There you go.
and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks.
Cheers.